Back with another episode of Pottawattamie County Roots. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. You have heard me talk about it many times, and I'm a big supporter of NAMI Southwest Iowa, National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I am also on the board, and there is an event coming up in May that it's time to start talking about now. It is NAMI Walks, and this is a walk event to raise money for the different NAMI chapters around the country. Walks are going to be happening everywhere, and ours for our region is going to be in Clarinda, and let me make sure I get the date correct. It's going to be on a Wednesday, May 27th, and we will be walking around the Page County Courthouse lawn. Page County, one of the counties that NAMI Southwest Iowa serves. So this year's walk is in Clarinda, and we want to encourage you to get your teams together and help us raise money so we can serve those in our region that are dealing with mental health issues. So we're going to talk about that today. And again, NAMI Walks 2026 will be our subject on this episode of Pottawattamie County Roots. A leak, a clogged drain, or a big remodel is just what Waldstein Plumbing has you covered with fast, reliable service and expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installations. They're locally owned, they're locally trusted, and they take pride in doing the job right the first time. Residential or commercial, big or small, when plumbing problems strike, give them a call. WaldsteinPlumbing.com. Service Master Restorer by Schmader knows how hard it is to get things back to normal when you've suffered serious property damage due to flooding, fire, smoke, leads to mold. You know, they also do mold remediation, and as you may have seen with Cindy Schmader in studio last week, you know, they also handle bed bug issues, and it's a great episode. You should go back and watch that. Bed bugs a little more common than I think any of us would like to admit. So if you have some sort of problem that needs a little restoration service, get Cindy Schmader's number in your phone. Service Master Restore by Schmader, 402-339-9911. Okay, so today we're going to talk and spend a little time on something that doesn't always get the microphone time it deserves, but it absolutely does deserve it, and that is mental health in Southwest Iowa and the work that our local NAMI affiliate is doing leading up to NAMI Walks that's coming up in May. So let's slow down a bit. Let's walk through who NAMI is, what they do, and why this walk matters, and how you can be a part of it. I'm going to try to keep this very grounded and very local because that's where this really lives, in our families and in our neighborhoods and in the towns we drive through every day. Let's start with the basics. NAMI, N-A-M-I, stands for National Alliance on Mental Illness. At the national level, it's the largest grassroots mental health organization in the country. At our level, things look a lot different because here in Southwest Iowa, it looks like an affiliate with a small staff, a lot of volunteers, and a whole lot of heart for the counties that we serve. And Pottawattamie County is included in that. So when I say our local NAMI, I'm talking about the folks who are actually here. They hold support groups in our communities. They partner with our schools, our churches, our jails, our hospitals. They're the ones you might bump into at a ball game or see in the grocery store. It's not an 800 number to another time zone. It's people who know what it's like to live right here in Southwest Iowa. And at the core, they do three big things: support, education, and advocacy. Still have trouble with that word. On the support side, they create safe spaces where people living with mental health conditions can talk with others who understand. These are peer-based groups, meaning they're led by people with lived experience, folks who have walked through depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, trauma, all the other labels that we don't always know how to talk about. They also offer support for family members and friends because anyone who's walked that road with someone they love knows it can be confusing, it can be exhausting, and it can be isolating. On the education side, NAMI runs classes and workshops. Some are for individuals who are dealing with a diagnosis and trying to make sense of it. Some are for families and caregivers. Some are just general presentations for the community to help people understand what mental illness is and what it isn't, what treatment can look like, and how to respond in ways that help instead of harm. And then there's advocacy. That can sound big and political, but a lot of it is very local. It looks like showing up in conversations with hospitals, law enforcement, schools, and county officials and saying, Here's what people are actually dealing with. Here's where the gaps are. And here's how we can do better. It's speaking up for folks who might not feel like they have the energy or the platform to do it themselves. All of that is happening quietly, week in and week out. Most of it never hits the front page, but if you were to take it away, a lot of people would feel the loss instantly. Now, with that as the backdrop, let's shift to NAMI Walks. NAMI Walks is the big annual mental health walk that happens in communities all across the country. There are versions of this event in different cities, in different states, and each one is tied to a local or statewide NAMI office. Our version is NAMI Walk Southwest Iowa. It's the one that supports the work here in our counties with our people. This is not a 10K where everybody's checking their time at the finish line. It's not a competition. Think of it as a moving gathering. It's a short, accessible walk, usually a loop, that just about anyone can do. It's combined with a chance to stand up publicly for mental health, to raise some funds, and to show folks who are struggling that they are not alone. The one this May is set in Clarinda on the courthouse lawn. So, yeah, for those of us who live here in Pottawattamie County, it's a little bit of a drive. But if you're anything like me, you've probably driven further for less important reasons. Maybe a game, a concert, a day trip. This is one of those times where the miles are part of the commitment. You're saying, this matters enough to me to get in the car and go. So what does a day like that actually look like? All right, picture the courthouse lawn in Clarinda, tables set up around the edges. Might be a registration tent. There will be some information booths, small stage or sound system. People are going to start trickling in. There'll be individuals. There'll be families. There'll be groups wearing matching shirts. Some are there walking for themselves, and some are walking for a brother, maybe a daughter, a parent, a friend. Some are walking to remember someone they lost. Some are walking because they work in this field and they see the need every day. You'll see signs, you'll see T-shirts that say things like, "You are not alone," "End the silence," "Mental health for all." You're going to hear bits of conversation that sound very familiar if you've ever wrestled with anxiety, depression, or any other mental health challenge. Yeah, I've been there. I finally reached out for help. We had no idea what to do at first. I'm just glad we're talking about it now. Just a few of the things you might hear. There's usually a short program before or after the walk, and someone will welcome the crowd, thank the sponsors, maybe share a personal story. Last year's walk, that was me. You might also hear from someone who lives with a mental health condition. You might hear from a family member. You might hear from one of the local staff or volunteers. None of it is about perfection. It's about honesty, and it's about hope. Then there's the walk itself. No stopwatch. No pressure, just people moving together one step at a time, literally and figuratively. You don't have to tell your story at a microphone. You don't have to carry a sign if you don't want to. You can just walk. You can walk quietly. You can walk and talk with someone you trust. You can walk and just breathe. And while all of that is happening, something else is happening that you can't quite put a flyer on. People stop feeling quite so alone. Someone who's been struggling in silence for years looks around and thinks, oh, it's not just me. It's not just our family. There's a lot of people here carrying something like this. That alone is worth the drive. Now, there's also a very practical side to all of this. A walk is a fundraiser. When you sign up to take part, you can set up a personal page, set a goal, ask friends and family to support you. You can form a team, maybe from your workplace, your school, your church, your coffee group, or your block, and invite people to walk and fundraise together. You can also give without walking if that works for you. Those donations don't disappear into some national pot. They're used to support programs right here in Southwest Iowa. The money raised stays right here, and it keeps support groups free, keeps education classes available. It helps expand outreach into parts of the area that don't always get a lot of attention. The idea is simple. No one should be turned away from support because they can't pay for it. So let's slow down, walk you through some very practical ways you might plug into this. I like to think of it as 4 main options. You don't have to do all 4. You don't even have to do the one that scares you the most. Just listen for the one that feels like, yeah, that might be doable for me this year. So option 1, you walk. It's the most straightforward. You register, you pick the Southwest Iowa event, you put the date in May on your calendar, and you show up. Now, if you're anything like me, the word walk Triggers a little mental checklist. Do I need to be in shape? Do I need special shoes? Is it going to feel like a 5K where everybody's sprinting past me? No, it's not like that. This is a community walk. It's intentionally designed so almost anyone can take part. You can go at your own pace, and if you want to hang toward the front of the pack, you can. If you're more of a stroll and chat person, sure. If you need to stop and rest along the way, no one's going to blow a whistle at you. Walking here isn't about proving something to anyone else. It's about what it says to you. And it's saying, I care about this enough to get in the car, to show up in person, to put one foot in front of the other with other people who care too. For some folks, just stepping onto that courthouse lawn is a big deal. Maybe you've never been to an event centered on mental health before. Maybe you spent years doing everything you can to keep your own struggle hidden. Showing up physically is a way of loosening that grip a bit. You don't have to tell your story into a microphone. You don't have to wear a shirt that says, ask me about my diagnosis. Just walk quietly if you want, but you are there. And then there's something about being in a crowd where the whole reason for gathering is we care about people who are hurting on the inside, and that hits different. You might find yourself taking a deep breath you didn't know you needed. You might feel a little lump in your throat, kind of like I have right now. When you see other people your own age, or your parents' age, or your kids' age, and you realize they're here for the same reason, walking can be the first step into that reality. All right, option 2. You build a team. Now, this option is for the connectors out there, the people who hear about something and immediately start thinking, what could I bring along with me? A team is basically you plus at least one other person with a name and a shared purpose. You can get as creative or as simple as you want. Maybe you name your team after your workplace, such as Your Company Cares. Maybe you pick something tied to your family, like Team, whatever your last name is, or Walking for Uncle Joe. Maybe you go with something fun and a little tongue-in-cheek that makes people smile when you see it on a shirt. Building a team gives you a built-in excuse to talk about mental health in spaces where we often don't. You can say, hey, a group of us is going to the walk in May. We're putting a team together. Want to join us? It's a much easier conversation starter than, so let's talk about depression at the copier. Think about the circles you're part of, coworkers, the teacher's lounge, your church or synagogue or small group, your volunteer organization, your bowling league, your fantasy football group, your book club. Every one of those circles has people in it who are impacted by mental health, whether they've said it out loud yet or not. Inviting them onto a team is a gentle, practical way to say, I see you, I care, and there's a way for us to show up together. A team also lets you divide and conquer when it comes to fundraising and logistics. One person handles setting up the page, and another person coordinates carpools. Someone else can be the reminder person. Hey, the walk is this weekend. Don't forget your shoes and water bottle. Turns the event into something you're doing as a small community inside the larger one. And if you're the person who usually stands on the sidelines at things like this, building a team might be the stretch that actually pulls you into the center in a good way. He gives you a role. I'm the team captain, not in a big bossy way, but in a I cared enough to get this started kind of way. Option 3, you give. Now, maybe your schedule is absolutely slammed and you're working weekends, and maybe you've got health challenges that make an outdoor event kind of tough, or maybe you're listening and thinking, there is no way I can commit to being in Clarinda on a Wednesday night, even though I care. That's where this third option comes in. You can still be part of the story by donating. You can give to a friend or a family member who's walking. You can give to a team that represents something you care about, a school, a church, a first responder group, a workplace, or you can make a general gift to the event. And I want to pause here because it's easy to get a little weird about money conversations. This isn't about guilt. It's not about if you don't give, you don't care. No, please, not at all. This is simply about recognizing that the programs we've been talking about, support groups, classes, outreach, it all takes resources to run. And a walk is one of those ways resources are gathered. Different people are in different positions financially, and for some, giving a small amount is a stretch. For others, there's room in the budget for something more significant. Both matter. Think about it. A lot of small gifts, given consistently, can keep the lights on, can cover materials, and can fund training for new group leaders or outreach in a new town. And there is another layer to this. When you give in someone's honor, maybe in honor of a loved one who's struggling, or in memory of someone you've lost, it can be a meaningful ritual. It's a way of acknowledging that their story matters enough to put your money where your heart is. If you're someone who, for whatever reason, doesn't feel ready to show up in person, giving can be that first step. So if you're saying, I'm not quite ready to go to the walk, but I am ready to help make sure it happens, that counts. That's real. And now, option 4, you volunteer. This one is for all of the behind the scenes people, the folks who see an event and instinctively think about all the little things that have happened to make it work. A walk doesn't just appear. Someone has to mark the route. Someone has to set out tables and chairs. Someone has to make sure speakers and microphones are working. Someone has to greet the people at the registration table with a smile and a glad you're here. Someone has to refill water coolers, point folks in the right direction, and help tidy up at the end so the host location looks as good as or better than when everyone arrived. If you enjoy being useful more than being in the spotlight, this is a great fit. You can be a part of the heartbeat of the day without necessarily being on stage, and you can help make the experience welcoming, smooth, and safe for the folks who are walking. For example, imagine being the person at the welcome table who says hi to someone who almost didn't come. They're a little nervous. They're not sure if they belong, and you're the first friendly face they see. You hand them a name tag, give them a quick rundown of where things are, and suddenly they're not quite as alone. That's not a small thing. Maybe you're more of a logistics person. You love lists and you don't mind lifting and carrying. All right, you're on the setup crew. You get there a little early, make sure signs are in the right place, water's ready, and everything's laid out before the crowd arrives. You might not talk to as many people, but the walk literally cannot happen without you. Volunteering can also be a good option if you're early in your own mental health journey and you're still figuring out what you're comfortable with. You get to be a part of the event, but you also have a specific job to focus on, which can give you a feeling of being grounded. And one more thing, giving your time can be just as valuable as giving money. Not everyone has room in the budget, but many people can carve out a few hours. Both types of contributions are needed. So, to recap those 4 options in a simple way, you can walk, you can build a team, you can give, you can volunteer. So, you might pick one. Maybe you pick 2. Maybe some of you might do all 4. Or maybe this year you just tuck the idea away and you think about it, and that's okay too. The point is, there are multiple doors into this. You can choose the one that fits your life and your energy right now. So let's step back and connect the dots here. This local affiliate, NAMI Southwest Iowa, is out there doing the quiet, consistent work, helping people understand mental health, supporting families, and standing alongside people who live with mental illness. Staff and volunteers are spread across the region. This isn't just a website, it's real people on the ground. The walk, coming up at the end of May, is one of the big moments this year where we get a chance to show up for them. It's a fundraiser, yes, but it's also a public show of support. When a courthouse lawn fills up with walkers, signs, and stories, it sends a message that mental health is not something we hide and whisper about. It's something we acknowledge and support together. And for those of us here in Pottawattamie County, it's a chance to say, we are a part of this. We're not sitting this one out. If you're listening and you're watching and you're personally struggling, or someone you love is, I also want you to hear this. You don't have to do it alone. One of the reasons that NAMI Southwest Iowa exists is to give people a place to turn, a place to get support, get information, and don't feel judged for saying, hey, I'm not okay. The walk coming up at the end of May is one way to plug in. Reaching out for information about local programs is another. You can attend a support group, take part in an education class, or simply start by learning what's available. Here's my ask. As we head in towards May, think about registering for NAMI Walk Southwest Iowa and making that trip to Clarinda to walk. If you're able, form or join a team. Bring a little bit of Pottawattamie County flavor to the event. And if you cannot walk, consider donating so this work can continue in our region. And if you need help, don't wait to reach out. There are people here locally who want to walk alongside you. We drive all over this part of the state for things that matter to us. This is one that, in my opinion, is worth the miles. Someone else that's going to be there is Jean Bonker, and she can help you find the right care for a loved one, and she knows it can feel overwhelming. Assisted Living Locators is here to help. Jean brings more than 30 years of experience serving families and has personally navigated the challenges of elder care. She understands the questions, the emotions, and the weight of these decisions. Jean becomes your advocate, guiding you through options with clarity, compassion, and personal support every step of the way. Give her a call, 402-690-5467. Move forward with confidence. And if you're looking for all natural health solutions in Southwest Iowa, visit Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market. She's located at 507 Main Street in Council Bluffs. And actually, let's check that address. It's actually 805. 805 South Main Street. Sorry about that, Bambi. She has a wide selection of vitamins, supplements, essential oils, herbal remedies. She's here to help. And she's here to put health back in your hands. Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market. All right, that's it for today. Let me wipe my eyes a little bit. I get emotional every time I talk about this subject. And, this is one of those cases where, we just leave it all hanging out there because it's important. So again, let me pull the date back up so I'm looking at it directly from here. NAMI Walks, Wednesday, May 27th. It'll be on the Page County Courthouse lawn. Go to NAMIWalks.org to get your team registered. And let's take a crowd from Pottawattamie County down to Page County on May 27th. What do you say? All right, I hope to see you then, and we'll see you back here Monday morning.